talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome into the Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 146. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burlyman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. You guys got enough coffee in you? Yeah, you're ready to go?
We need it.
Yeah. And we got a special guest with us today from the Iron Lords podcast and Defining Duke over on Last Stand Media, Lord Cognito. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Good to be here in the realm of the arena. I like y'all names. First of all, I'm always going to be a fan of Turn-Based Carl and Burlyman. it represents the beef and the turn-based in me. Then we got Expat in here, so I think I'm gonna have a good time. I think these are my people.
Yeah, man. Thank
we
you
hope
so much.
so.
Yeah.
I got the right names.
Yeah, so welcome into the arena where we talk about anything and everything games, and of course it could go off in any different direction. So we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about Starfield. That's our topic of the show, so all things Starfield. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about some of the weekly news beat, of course, things with Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard deal. We're going to be talking about the leaks that happened, all stuff pertaining to Xbox in this particular episode this week. So really excited to get into that. But before we do that, we're going to show you where you can find the podcast in audio and video formats.
Discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast's ad-free version in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon after being recorded. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month and get every episode including exclusive ad-free post-show content in video format when recorded, please visit patreon.com/thearenaproductions for further details. The audio version of the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, and in the video version, it will be on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Productions, where you can join and chat with the Arena Productions community, and the podcast audio website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. For all information regarding the podcast and our entertainment and pop culture related content, along with our blog and forums, visit the official website of The Arena Productions at www.thearenaproductions.com. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at The Arena Productions. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into the latest news. Of course, the Activision Blizzard deal is almost finished. So basically, the CMA has given a preliminary approval of the deal. Of course, they're going to have third parties kind of weigh in at the very end here. So hopefully we can get this done by the October 18th deadline. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting. You see photos of Bobby Kotick, meeting with the British, the Parliament and everybody there, and having like meetings and stuff. Yeah, it's funny. It's like that happens, and of course he was kind of trashing the deal, with the UK after the CMA was like, no, it can't go through, and it's like, oh, this is going to be like a dumpster fire for the UK when it comes to getting deals done in the future if this doesn't happen. And then when the day that the CMA gives the preliminary approval, he's sitting in there with like the chancellor and everybody in a meeting. I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought that was funny, but anyway, so what do you guys think? I mean, Carl, I know you were telling me earlier, this is a done deal. It's over. It's finished.
It's been done. It's been done for a while. Come on. We know this.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? So will we get another question? Will we get Call of Duty this holiday season on Game Pass? I mean, that's going to be interesting to see. So, Special guest Cog. What do you think, man?
I mean, that was my initial prediction when the announcement happened, and I remember, during the whole CMA before the initial block, when they blocked it on cloud purposes only. That was the reasoning. Before that, I was like, they're going to look to move quickly, and my mindset has always been, the quicker they can get it into Game Pass is how they're going to move. And the only thing that threw that whole plan off was obviously the block at that time. So once the block happened, I think that really set everything back. And then obviously, they beat then it goes to the EU, which was a huge victory for them. They needed that EU victory to really solidify that market. And then once it came back to the FTC, we went through the whole Judge Corley thing. They beat the FTC at that point. Now the pressure squarely falls back with the CMA. So once we started to see them kind of working it out, my only concern at that point was just the length of time, because I believe they were like, we're going to extend it to October, and then we start to hear Ubisoft come involved. So, I think that announcement was maybe July or something to that effect. So once I heard that, I was in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is going to be wrapped up pretty quickly. It probably won't even take as long as October. But now that we're going towards the 11th hour, we're September now, I do think that my theory's in trouble. And I think that it's not that it's not going to happen.
Right.
Just not that it won't happen this year, because we have to remember, Activision Blizzard King, Microsoft, to this point, are still separate entities. They still have to operate independently. So as much as they've been flirting, they can't make a move on transitioning it to Game Pass. But I will give you this, Carl. I will give you this. Even though I don't think they'll be able to put it into Game Pass this year, like my initial prediction, I do think that we'll have the marketing. Xbox will have the marketing and get that mind share going. And then from the next couple of months, they'll transition. So my new prediction is kind of like top of 2024. You'll start to see things filter in. That's my initial. I'm being a little conservative right now based on what happened.
Yeah, I do feel that they could get something into Game Pass this year. I mean, because if you look at how it happened with Bethesda, right? Once that deal closed, they dropped a whole load of games into Game Pass. It was like, I think it was like a day, 2 days, maybe something like that, right after.
It was pretty quick.
It's possible. Definitely
it's possible. Yeah, like I said, not to interrupt, but my only pushback would probably be like, on the back end side, it's not as easy as like flipping a switch. Like everything now has to be on a database side switched over. Okay, this is a Game Pass game, and then they're going to have the right to choose which ones they want in, which ones they're going to hold. It's a lot of work. But I hear your point. There could be some smaller games, or maybe a little catalog of games that initially happened. I'm just curious if Call of Duty would be able to put in time, because of the fact that, again, they were separate entities to that point. But hey, I'd love to be wrong. I love for the announcement to come out and they got the round table and they sitting there with Bobby or Mikey Barr. They're like, hey, Diablo, as soon as the thing, like, because remember we got the round table last time with Todd and the whole crew. So I do think we'll get that. The question will be how quickly. So I'm still be concerned, but I hope you're right, Carl. I hope it goes down just like how you said, because I would like that in my service, please.
Yeah. Burley, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're gonna try their best to make this go quick. I don't think we're gonna get the newer titles as quick as you want on there on Game Pass. I think it's gonna be the older library, because like there are still deals with some of these Call of Duties that have yet to come out, and ones that have been out like a year or two with PlayStation, with the marketing and stuff. So I'm sure there's some dates on that. You're not going to get Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 right away on Game Pass. But like, hey, Modern Warfare 2018, Cold War and stuff like that, and a little bit older games. Yeah, that was like Diablo 4. I don't see that coming day one. Love to be proven wrong, but it's just a matter of
what deal, I think Diablo 4 needs a little boost. Okay, people are not very happy about the service side of it.
It does, because season 1 has kind of, from someone that has played the game, season 1 kind of just came and it just went down. Season 2, people are hoping with the whole new mechanic with season 2 is going to bring back players, and it is interesting, but like they need to do stuff with the whole battle pass, because of in the first one for season 1, you didn't even get, if you spent all that time, grinded all the way to level 100, you didn't get enough of the currency to buy one thing on the shop. So a lot of people were like brutal. me, I was like, why do I care about the battle pass? I don't care. If I'm not really gaining anything from it, what's the point in sitting and sinking time into it?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
You got to figure they got to get some Call of Duty game in there, right? By the end of the year.
Oh.
Come on, there's like 1,000 of them. Just get something in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you'll get like the original Modern Warfare trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, and like Black Ops and stuff like that. Those ones I think will go easily, and maybe like the remasters of Modern Warfare that they put out on Xbox and PS4 and Xbox One and PS4, those could come. But I don't think like Modern Warfare 2 and like Modern Warfare 3, I've seen people say Modern Warfare 3 is going to be day one Game Pass. I'm like, I think it's too hard at this point. And I'm sure Sony still has that marketing deal with them, so they're not gonna. I'm sure there's some stuff to block that.
You know, it would be really interesting, guys. They're talking about these third parties. They're going to chime in before the final decision is made.
Yes.
Is Sony one of those third parties? I mean, I could you just imagine Sony saying, no. There's something else about that cloud gaming. No, we don't like that. No, it can't go.
It'll be a little Phoenix Ace Attorney. We vehemently object.
Yeah, exactly.
Objection.
Objection. That kind of energy.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Sony already bent the knee, right? They signed the deal. Come on.
Yeah,
they know it's inevitable.
Yeah, it's inevitable at this point.
They signed the deal. They may have sealed. They're not still gonna. They're not gonna give up. You're a fool. You're a fool if you think otherwise. They're still gonna try. They're still gonna try and delay the deal as much as they can from taking in, because they're gonna want Modern Warfare 3 is the big holiday game in November. They're gonna really want to push for the marketing. They don't want it to go for Game Pass. They want to try and push it and be like, remember, best experience for us, PS5.
Yeah. Because they would be heavily marketing a game owned by their direct competitor.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it really puts them in a tough spot. I honestly think, I do agree with Carl. I think they have bent the knee at this point because, prior to that, we've heard nothing but Jim Ryan stating we will not sign your deal. We don't care what we have to do to block your deal. And I think the FTC was the breaking point. Once that happened, they kind of folded. And at that point, we saw that, Sony has signed the deal kind of thing. So at that point, I think they know it's inevitable, and I think they're kind of ramping up in a post. We don't have Call of Duty. We don't have that marketing kind of work, because I do think Microsoft will be aggressive with the marketing. I do think that. I think that will change hands as soon as this is closed. My only difference was just like, I don't know how fast it'll go into actually Game Pass and the infusion of those games in the Game Pass, but marketing is huge because you have to let your base know this is the new home of Call of Duty. You have to let the casual base know, that Xbox logo. Because let's be real, there's a lot of, gamers who are not like us, who are not hardcore. They just see Hogwarts and know, oh, you can only play that on PlayStation, right? Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, you can only, that's a lot of the mind share that Sony has. And Microsoft is to their benefit to change that immediately and say, hey, you can get this and the Series S. That's why I think this is such a huge deal, because when the infusion of games does happen, it's going to be transformative, because I know those guys. I know those guys that just buy the Call of Duty, the Madden, the 2K, just those one or two games a year. And now to associate it with Xbox and Game Pass is going to be huge for them.
Even out here in Japan, Cog, I mean, Call of Duty is big. I mean, even that mobile version of Call of Duty, you had millions of people playing that game out here. I mean, so Call of Duty, even out here in Asia, it's going to be big. So that could push a lot of Game Pass subscribers out here too. So shall see. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the leaks. I mean, I just want to briefly go into them a little bit. So what do you think the public, especially us hardcore gamers, the public, Nintendo, of course, they want to buy Nintendo. Of course, you had the the leaks with, of course, the Brooklyn and all of these
from the sort of town.
So I mean, so and then of course with the Bethesda games coming forward. But I mean, what do you think will be the public perception of this like a year from now? I mean, when it comes to us hardcore gamers, I mean, is it really going to matter? I mean, because you got Hellblade 2 coming, you've got you've got Avowed coming, you've got all these other big games coming, you got them coming to Game Pass day one. It's like, okay, well, Phil Spencer, he fantasized and he dreamed about buying Nintendo. Of course, every company CEO probably fantasizes and dreams about buying Nintendo.
Really, you think?
I
agree with you.
Yeah.
I've been
who wouldn't want to have Nintendo,
dragged
right?
because of this, because I agree with your mindset.
So I mean, I think in the age of social media we're living in, Cog, you and I, we probably remember the days when we didn't have all this social media and stuff, and the type of age we're living in now. Yeah,
we all OGs. I like that. Okay, there we go.
So, but I mean, it's like next year, this is all going to be forgotten, I think. I mean, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, all this stuff leaked. Yeah, I mean, all the hardware, okay, they might have to do some slight revisions here and there. They didn't talk about a handheld. I'm sure we're probably going to get a handheld at some point.
Tears.
Yeah, maybe. So, I mean, what do you think the public perception with us hardcore gamers, and then those that are maybe not hardcore gamers, but what do you think the public perception will be in, say, a year from now about all these leaks? The ramifications. Will there be any real massive ramifications for all of this? Carl, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think, man?
I honestly, when this came out, I kind of felt that it would be forgotten very quickly. I mean, it's a big story, right? Everyone's going to be talking about it, which, I mean, is that bad? Everybody's talking about Xbox. I mean, that's because, again, all the things that came out, all the leaks, pretty much all of it's positive. There isn't really anything in there that you're like, oh, that sounds terrible. I don't like that. This is the Nintendo thing, right? Some people that rubs a little bit the wrong way. But I think realistically, like if you look at the language used, like it's just, it's not like we're definitely going to do it. And it's like we want it. Yeah, of course we wanted to. Who would, like you said, who wouldn't want to, right? So yeah, like this stuff is, I think the fact that the consoles leak is probably the biggest thing, because that is a physical thing that you have to sell next year.
Yes.
And now everybody already knows, like, does that hurt sales in some way? Maybe. I don't know, a little bit. I mean, this model doesn't have a disk drive. So like, if you still want that disk drive model, this isn't really going to stop you, but it's a lot better. It's got a lot better features. And most people, as we know, don't really care about physical media anymore, sadly.
Yeah. Shout out to Randall Thor over at Xbox 2 podcast. And Cog, you were on there today, and I heard him say it was like 5 a.m. out here in Japan. I was like waking up, and I turned it on for just a brief minute or two, and he's talking about this, as you can see here in the image. He's calling it like a trash can. A trash can cylinder. I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Disrespectful.
That's Rand. I mean, I love him. I mean, it's awesome.
I mean, look, but they already did that. I already saw the images of the Xbox Series X now as a trash can, right? The little Photoshop of the trash on the top. It's already been done. Not gonna hurt us.
Yeah, and there you go. There's the controller there. That's a pretty sweet looking controller there. Yeah.
So, now, I thought it was funny that people saying like it looks like he's wearing pants, which kind of silly.
Now I can't unsee that. Same. Like now I've got the visual. That's hilarious.
Right. I'm not feeling that, but Design Labs, you can color it however you want. It'll be whatever.
Yeah. Burley, your thoughts on the Brooklyn and this controller here?
Well, now thank you, Carl, because now I can't get the image of it wearing pants out of my head. The controller looks good and fine to me, and I have no problem with how the new Series X redesign. It's people will forget about it in 3 weeks from now, the most people, and then when they gets officially announced, shown off more next year, people will go, oh, okay, people can decide, because they're two different units, two different sizes, and like you said, sadly, most people don't care about physical media anymore. So it's okay. It doesn't have physical media, but it's got this. It checks all these boxes that I'd rather have, having the bigger storage and all that, and having the USB-C port. And who knows? You never know. In the future, they could sell out hey, by USB-C, you could have a HDD or Blu-ray drive, plug in and play your physical media there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Possible.
I mean, that's the assumption with the PS5,
right?
Supposed slim model or whatever it's going to be, that is going to have no disk drive as a standard, and then there'll be an external. But we have yet to see if that's reality.
That is true.
So, what do you guys think about the Bethesda games, the leaks and all? Of course, Oblivion remaster, all of that. I mean,
yeah. That was a lot, man. That was a lot. I think really quickly on the Brooklyn before we get into it. Look, I agree. I think this is not going to do as much damage, based on the fact that it's a slight refresh, right? It's like this slim version of the Series X. Yeah. And I think the controller is actually really revolutionary because a lot of people have been asking for haptics. A lot of people have been asking for different types of connectivity, whether it be Bluetooth outside of their proprietary stuff. And I like that lift to wake feature. So, you don't even have to hold the button, you just pick it up. And so to me, that synergizes with their long-term vision of cloud and things that they want to do as far as you don't need a console. You can play it on any device, whether it's console, screen, PC, what have you. As far as the actual thing that hurts for them is just the element of surprise, right? It would have been really cool to watch the Xbox Direct and be like, wow, they're actually, making a refresh. They lost that element a little bit, but I don't think this would be too much damage. I do think what we're about to talk about, like the Bethesda and then, seeing their plans, I feel very sad for the teams because a lot of this would have been megaton announcements that really would have resonated with a lot of people. I know people that go hard for Dishonored, right? To know that a Dishonored 3 was coming, and know, the lineup that they had in place. Now, albeit it was very late and a couple years off on a lot of these things based on when they were supposed to drop. But like licensed IP, Indiana Jones game, Starfield DLC, Oblivion, Fallout, that's a huge one, right? So it goes to show me that Bethesda by themselves as a publisher is such a huge asset to Microsoft and their game library. And think about it. This is we're not even talking about Xbox Game Studios. We're just talking about what ZeniMax had to show. We're seeing behind the curtain on that. And it's very exciting. So I'm a big Ghostwire Tokyo fan.
There you go.
There's a lot of who's yellow? That's my man. Did Japan in the house? All right, bro.
Japan is in the house, baby.
Bro, when I was doing all of this, it was me doing this.
I love those hand movements.
Bro, those hand movements. I invite anybody, if you played the game and you just played it regular, there's a side mission that I feel is the best, better than the main story. It's called like Fear for the Children. And you have to do this thing in a school. And I don't want to spoil it. It's some of the best horror mechanics I've seen in a game. It has you on the edge of your seat. It's excellent. And it's one of those games, it's flawed, but you see the potential. And you're like, if they just refine it, do a couple things graphically. So I was pumped. I think Tango is highly underrated. Again, under the ZeniMax brand. We got Hi-Fi Rush to seek. So I'm pumped for what they're doing. And I think, again, it's unfortunate the teams didn't get to reveal it when they want it. And but other than that, I'm like, future's bright for what they got going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would announce the Evil Within 3, but the developer left. Yeah, but actually, out here in Japan, Cog, it's not called the Evil Within; it's called Psycho Break.
Really?
That is the name of the title in Japan, the Japanese title for it. Psycho Break.
I got a question for you since you're in Japan. Your perspective is very unique. I saw recently that Ghostwire Tokyo did like 6 million players. Like, was it received well, or was it kind of like a lukewarm reception in Japan? I'm very curious.
It was received well, especially because Nakamura Ikumi-san, she was a part of the development cycle of that. Yeah, so it did get a good reception out here. And after it came to Game Pass, it got a huge reception as well. So
nice.
Yeah, yes, it did. So. But yeah, Fallout 3 remaster, all of that. Yeah, looking forward to those. Yeah,
Oblivion, man. I really want to know how far they're gonna go with these remasters.
The Oblivion one, I'm really curious because that was my first ever Bethesda game, and that one I really, really enjoyed.
Mine too.
I put over 200 hours probably easily into the game. So it's I want to see what are they updating, how's it going to look, how what are they going to change, how much more are they going to get performance out of it to run better.
Yeah, I want to know about gameplay tweaks, because that game, you're going to have to upgrade some stuff. It's going to feel pretty dated. It's not quite Morrowind, level of dated, but even the way the leveling worked, where there was this scaling that they did with the enemies, to the point where you can level yourself so much and the enemies level with you that you can make some of the missions almost impossible.
Oh yeah,
that was a big problem for me.
Oh yeah. So good.
And
so
then
good.
if depending what skills you picked for your level thing, you had to go to jail to get them lowered so you could level up again. That kind of stuff. Yeah, you kind of need to update just to make it a little more modern and flow better.
Absolutely.
Fallout 3 is cool. That again gameplay rise, right? When they went to 4, they improved the shooting mechanics a lot. Right? And Starfield, we know even more.
Oh yeah.
It feels much better. So you would hope that they would apply some of that to that. But I still want VATS. I love VATS.
One of the best in gaming, man.
That's right.
Remember, that's what made me fall in love with that game when I started to use VATS.
But back to Tango. I think we're going to definitely see Hi-Fi Rush 2. I think that's going to be coming. Yeah, that's coming. Yeah.
It's got to be. That's a must. Oh, that game's amazing.
Yeah.
I just love the diversity of that studio. What they're showing what they can do, and it was really cool because acquiring ZeniMax, they got a Japanese studio by proxy, right? Just by having that, and I thought that was really cool. So yeah, for sure.
You never know. You never know, Cog. I mean, we might see after the Activision Blizzard deal is done, we might see something done with Sega, and we might get Atlas.
Don't get my heart up, man. I'm a Sega kid. Don't do this to me.
Hey, we're getting a lot of Sega anyway, but still, hey,
I know, bro.
Pretty chummy. I like that.
Yeah, very chummy. Listen. I know we'll talk about that TGS, but I saw. The relationship was extremely cozy. And when I was at PAX West recently, me and Attic got a chance to play Persona Tactica. We played Atlas had a huge turnout, and we played the one that's now in Game Pass. They just announced The Man Who Erased His Name.
Gaiden.
Yes, Gaiden. So the one thing we noticed was Xbox. Usually when you go to these shows, it's generally either PC you're playing or you're playing on PlayStation hardware. There was all Xbox hardware, unique controllers, custom controllers with Sega and Atlas, and I thought that was very interesting. Some of them playing on Xbox Series X hardware, so the relationship is very cozy. I will say that.
Yeah, I watched some of the Sega TGS stream, and they were playing with Xbox controllers. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Xbox controllers.
Yeah, and having the interviews with the devs, talking glowingly about how they. On Game Pass, and you need to play this before you can start Infinite Wealth. It's really cool to see how far that relationship has improved.
Yeah. I was really surprised by that day one announcement for the Gaiden game. I mean, it seems like a big game, right? And this is the next sort of action title, right? Because they moved away from that. They went to the turn-based, which God, I love them for that.
The right decision.
Right, that went the other way. Everybody else is like, "Oh, let's make it more action to get the bigger audience." But they're like, "No, we're going the other way because we know our Japanese audience loves this stuff."
Yeah. So, I was surprised. I was surprised that Gaiden was coming day one, and I mean, and then of course, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming finally.
Huge.
That's something that should have came a long time ago, but finally we're getting that. So.
But justified in waiting.
Nice patience. That Game Pass patience.
Well, we don't know for sure if it's Game Pass.
That is true. They didn't say.
It was said 2024. Wait.
Yeah, you're right. It almost was it felt like that announcement was last minute because we got so little details. Just that, hey, it's coming. All right, cool.
Not even anything, just to show. You had to actually read what he was saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they took 2 minutes to set it up and record and send it to Microsoft.
And then Infinite Wealth.
That's how it felt.
It's not going to come to Game Pass day one, but I wouldn't be surprised within the first 6 months it'll hit
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, it'll hit it.
Yeah,
So
the previous one did that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is how I played it, because like
Yeah.
I wasn't obviously I love turn-based games. It's in the name, but
That's right.
I have never really played the Yakuza franchise, and I think I tried Kiwami, like the first one, just to see what that was like, and I just didn't like the action gameplay. It just wasn't for me. So I didn't buy, like a Dragon right away. But then when it came to Game Pass, I was all over that. I played a ton of it, loved it.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna say it now, and I'm gonna say it again, Burley. Judgment 3, man. Judgment 3 is coming. Judgment 3 is coming. Because I agree. Go ahead, Burley. Go ahead.
I said I agree. Judgment 3 is coming. It's coming. It's just they're putting the main focus in the mainline series, and since they have the Judgment TV series, they're filming for Japan.
It's coming.
They're coming.
Yeah.
Kimura Takuya, but you better play Gaiden, because that's your action game for now. Okay, that's what you got. Yeah. Play the hell out of it.
Well, Kimura Takuya, he's on a radio show out here in Japan on Saturdays on Tokyo FM, and he was hinting about he's working on a video game right now, and it's Judgment 3. It's Judgment 3. Come on.
What else is he gonna be?
What other game is he going to be in? I mean, he's been in 2 Judgment games, so yeah. I think that's coming, but I mean, that's going to be far off. I mean, probably 2025, 2026, but I still think, like I said, Gaiden, that's awesome. It's coming day one. And then of course, Infinite Wealth, it'll be on Game Pass probably within like 6 months or so. So
definitely.
So you'll have the turn-based people like Carl to please, and then you'll have the tradition and Cog. Exactly. Yes. Of course.
I'm Lord turn-based, by the way. Lord
yes. Lord turn-based. That's right. Yeah. There you go, man. Yeah. And then you have the traditionalist, for Gaiden, the traditional, combat systems. So yeah, works out. But what did you guys think of the part of the show? And I mentioned this during our live reactions and everything. When they were showing, what was it, Hotel Barcelona? And you had the 2 developer guys, and they're like, the one developer guy is like, he's saying in Japanese, of course, but it's like you can see the subtitles in English. He's like, I had to ask, I didn't understand why my developer friend named this thing Hotel Barcelona. It's like, come on, man. It's like, just throw that aside. We don't need to see that. Just show more of the gameplay.
No.
I mean, but
I got a theory on that. The thing, I don't think it landed the way probably Microsoft thought it was going to land, because historically those 2 are huge in the Japanese development scene. Like Swery, I believe, did D Premonition. Yeah. He's got a lot of things under his belt, and then Suda, with No More Heroes and this guy. These are like icons over there, and I think what it was is their Xbox is about it. Like, look, we got a game with Swery and Suda co-developing together. That'll be our mic drop moment. And I just, even though like I love both of them, I don't think it hit the way they thought it was gonna hit. So I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, cool. And then again, I'm not really sure on the game yet. There's a part of me that's like, it could be cool, but I gotta see kind of thing. So I think that was where it didn't land, maybe because the way Xbox was coming into this show, they were acting like, we got stuff to talk about. It's going to be kind of a megaton kind of energy. So a lot of people naturally assume when they heard that meant, Final Fantasy VII remake and so on and so forth. Right. So I think Microsoft was like, we got Swery, we got Suda working on a game. They're not ready. And everybody's like, okay, this is weird and cool, but okay. So that's just what I thought happened. That was just my opinion, but make no mistake, that is iconic for those 2 to work together. That is really iconic. It's just now we got to see if this game hits the way we think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like the name power of that was there, but then when you saw the game, I was like, I don't know. It's not for me for sure. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of like
rough. It was early.
Go ahead, Burley.
Yeah, I agree, Carl. It was rough. It was still very early in development game, you can tell. But it was just like they had all this energy and they were kind of hyping up. We're going to get something big. We're going to get something big. We're going to get that big mic drop moment. And then just kind of was like, it just went low, and it was just like when we were doing it, like I know I was tired because I woke up early to watch the show, but it was like I'm still like, this is kind of what you're ending with. This, like, yeah, they're great. They're great names that have done great work in the industry and all that, but still way too early footage, and just some of their banter, it would just seem kind of like forced.
Yeah, well, that's Japanese style though, Burley. I mean, in Japan, I mean, that scene is normal, but here in the West, out in the West, I mean, you could see that in that light.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, do they know each other? I mean, we assume they probably have some relationship.
It would be like, I don't know, well, you know, Kojima. I mean, so I'm trying to think too American, like Todd Howard working with some other iconic, you know, American developer. It's just the visual, right, of these two icons working on something. And again, probably over there, people are like, oh my God, right? But for us, we're like, okay. And then the game is not explosive looking, right? So we're like, okay, right? So because you see Burley was like, Carl is like, all right. Exactly. So I totally I feel what you guys are saying, because there's a part of me, I'm like, damn, it just didn't hit the way I know they wanted to hit. So maybe they could have held back a little bit on that part.
Yeah. And at that time too, Cog, everybody was thinking about the leaks.
Yes.
You know, it's like it was the worst time for that to happen, because you had the game show presentation like hours later. You know, and it's
absolutely.
like everybody was thinking about that. You know, all of the content creators, everybody was throwing up their videos and everything. It's like, yeah, man. And now, okay, now it's time to watch the presentation. It's like, so.
I think they would have been better to maybe have just quickly, like one quick sentence and said, we know there are leaks. We will be addressing them in the near future. It's all they would have had to say. And then I think that would have set better for the tone for the whole Tokyo Game Show. So people are not being like, when are we going to get to the fireworks factory moment of when are you going to talk to us about these leaks and all this and that?
No, I get it.
I will give it to them though, for actually announcing a new game by, you know, very significant developers at TGS, because typically it's never anything new. It's just like, oh, you know, this game's finally coming to Xbox, or here's an update on this Japanese game. So that was nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought they, you know, presentation wise did a phenomenal job. And I'm going to champion them on this, because every year, you can say what you want, but like their commitment to the Japanese gaming scene, to me, and I come from, you know, like the last one I remember was like Peter Moore with like Last Odyssey and a couple of games that I remember were really, you know, vibrant. Oh, so good. And to see, such a good game. Yeah. And to see, to me, Phil and Sarah take it a step further. To me, boots on the ground, doing a conference there, even, you know, Japanese sensibilities, you know, with who they're bringing on stage, and developers speaking native language. I think they're really taking it seriously, and I like the production value of the show. You know, I just thought that what I've learned now is, which I've always wanted, my goal with them is, you cannot have these big games miss your platform. You just cannot. It's unacceptable. So what I'm liking now is they're filling in all those gaps. And it's like, okay, we're going to have the new Dragon Quest. We're going to have, you know, the Square is we're going to get the Octopath. You know, I know the big one was remake. In my mind, I know that's probably more of a contractual thing. I think as soon as that ends, maybe like a Deathloop and a Ghostwire Tokyo when it was on PlayStation exclusively, as soon as that contract, which we know now is like May something, right, with Final Fantasy remake, I think we're starting to see that synergy. And it's good to see, man, especially Atlas, especially the Persona games. Like, these are games that historically Xbox fans like, oh, we ain't getting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just threw your hands up. It's never coming in. Oh well. And I think the Trojan horse is Game Pass. Developers like money, especially when they weren't doing well, you know, kind of thing. So
I mean, I've been saying now, like Final Fantasy 16, they should probably take the Game Pass bag, because sales weren't as good as they hoped.
Oh yeah, listen.
Well, they've actually some stuff has come out and said they have hit their numbers, what they expected. Yes, they wanted it to be higher. That game ain't coming to Game Pass. Like I've said it a number of times. Like, just because like Sony, they have stated Sony put money into the development. They worked with them. So yeah, Sony's locked that game up It ain't
Okay.
coming to game.
All right, Burley.
Game Pass.
We'll bet a case of spiritual opium.
Ooh, we got a bet. We got a bet.
So, Cog, probably you don't know what we're talking about when it comes to spiritual opium. There was a story in the Chinese media a couple of years ago about children playing video games, and the government wanted to clamp down on it. And so in the media, some story came out and saying, the addiction to video games, it's like being on spiritual opium, right?
They coming for gaming over there. Okay.
And so we have been keeping this like a running joke on this podcast for a few years now about spiritual opium and how good it is for us hardcore gamers, and we need to have it. And of course, Burley and I and Carl, we sometimes bet on cases of just
cases
spiritual
of opium.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because Cog, I know you're a workout warrior, and health is very important, and it is to all of us. But yeah, I mean, spiritual opium, that is number one. So.
That's funny. I love it. But yeah, man, I thought they did it. Shout out to Flame in the chat for Loves of Gaming .net. He's a huge Octopath fan, so to see that was so cool for him, because people need to play that game.
Yeah. So Burley, one case of spiritual opium. It's coming to game.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to, before we finish this conversation and jump into Starfield, I just want to say, being out here in Japan, I've been living in Japan for 27 years now.
Oh wow!
And I remember the dark times for Xbox out here.
Talk to him.
And I'm telling you, Phil and Sarah are really they're working overdrive to trying to get more the Xbox brand more respectable out here in Japan, because during those times of the 360, there was a lot of respect lost when it came to the Xbox brand out here. And when it comes to Japan, respect is king. And I've told Burley and Carl and everybody that listens and watches the podcast for years now, going into Japanese electronic stores, PlayStation and Nintendo are front and center.
Yep.
In the far back corner of the
behind
game
that
section, that's Xbox. That's the Xbox area. And it's still like that, unfortunately. It's still like that. And until Microsoft can work with the government to say, hey, stop with this, putting Xbox in the back, we want to be just as competitive. People still go to brick and mortar shops out here a lot.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, so people can still not see the Xbox brand very well out here. It's still in the far back corner of the store. So until they start getting an aisle in the front with PlayStation and Nintendo, it's still going to be difficult to really sell, especially hardware out here. But I my hat's off to them. They're working really hard. And when it comes to, making these deals, and like with Sega and having all the Atlas and the Persona games coming, I mean, that's amazing. And I just hope it continues. I'm sure it will. But it's just the whoever controls these brick and mortar stores, they're just going to have to, maybe Microsoft's going to have to throw more money their way and say, hey, okay, let's get our promotional materials in the front of the stores, because that's the big obstacle here still.
Good point. No, thanks for the perspective. It's very interesting to me. And I know the Lords, our goal was, we're supposed to do it this year, just too many things on our plate, but the goal is TGS. We have one of our reps out there, Gene from LordsofGaming.net. He's out there now. He goes every year. And I want to see it, because I know you've lived out there. It would be awesome to get a chance maybe to meet you.
Man, send him my way. And
absolutely. But the goal is for us to go out there and see it. And it's interesting to hear that perspective, because you see still how far they are. But I do think the strategy, like you said, is like boots on the ground, making these relationships, getting that respect, because that's the only way you're going to try to change things.
That's right. Because I mean, PlayStation 4 and that era and that generation, I mean, the way they marketed things and how they had all the indie games pumping out and stuff. I mean, they just dominated that generational cycle, and Xbox was pretty much, just nothing out here, unfortunately. But now it's picking up. I mean, with Phil coming in and and getting things running and having Sarah, working on stuff. I mean, it's the last 2 years have been amazing, especially. So
one of the things that always makes you sad is Xpat. He'll take a picture of a banner ad, right, for a game at a Japanese store. Yeah. And it's a game that's multi-platform, right? It's on PlayStation, Switch, Xbox.
Yep.
No Xbox logo on it.
That's right.
Wow.
No Xbox logos.
There.
Nope.
That's great. Can you give me an example, like any game in particular you remember?
I don't remember. I mean, you've sent pictures before, so
I don't know. What's interesting.
I'll have to go through my images.
I'm not sure if Hogwarts had that. Did they have ads for Hogwarts out there?
Yeah, I think Hogwarts was one of them.
Wow.
So
Hogwarts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Hogwarts was one because I remember we did one of the videos where when you had the camera when you were walking through the store. I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, isn't it also like because you've told us many times, Expat, because they're very consumer protection out there for their own local stuff. It's partly that too. They're going to focus on the two companies that are Japanese. But one of the nice things that Microsoft showed with this Tokyo Game Show is that they're really proven to help their status in the Japan market is showing, hey, Elder Scrolls Online, fully Japanese, November 15th or something like that. So it's a big MMO, a lot of text, a lot of voice acting. So it shows they're willing to put the time and effort in, which gives people in Japan, okay, this isn't just some little thing they're doing. They're trying to grow. They're really putting the effort here.
Well, let me just say this. I mean, this just tops it all off. Japan is slow to change. Japan is slow to change. Yes, like you said, Burley, with all of that, they're making strides. But when it comes to consumer protectionism within the government structure, for example, in America, I think I'm right here. A lot of people have Samsung TVs or Samsung, products. Samsung products are not available in Japanese electronic stores.
Oh, wow.
And that is because Samsung is a Korean company and they know that Samsung is the market leader. And who do they want to protect? They want to protect Toshiba. They want to protect Sony, right? So there are huge restrictions on foreign goods in Japanese stores. And that's
puts
a
it in
problem.
perspective. Yeah, puts it in perspective. Puts it in perspective for sure.
Yeah. So
good insight.
we'll see. And like I said, I mean, maybe Microsoft, they've got the money. Maybe they can say to the government, "Hey, listen.
It's got the influence."
It's like, look, Nintendo is in Kyoto. It's like they do their own thing, right? But Sony, they're in Tokyo. They do their thing. Well, Microsoft, we're in Tokyo too, and we'll give you some money. It's not a bribe. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bribe, but it's like, it's
the greasing.
It's like, come on, man. I mean, give us more space in, in the consumer space here in the country.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for them. You're absolutely right.
It's going to be a challenge, man. Yeah. So I hope so, because like I said, every week I walk to Yodobashi Camera. It's like one of the biggest electronic store chains here in Japan. And I go into the electronic section, the gaming section, they have the gaming and the esports section together. It's like Xbox is way in the far corner, just one little section there. And they have the Game Pass. They have the little Game Pass, section and stuff. But that's it. Everything is Nintendo.
Tiny little section of games, right?
Yeah.
And everything is like, just buy digital.
3 big aisles for Nintendo Switch games, 2 big aisles for PlayStation games, PSVR here, and that's it. Yeah.
So it's like the Vita was over here. Here you go. It's the shoebox.
Or Vita.
Yeah. So it's and I talk to these people. I go into the stores and I'm like, why? It's like, I see like the Square Enix rep. He comes in there, and I talk to him, and I was like, why isn't some of this stuff over in the Xbox? Oh, it's like, it's like, it's like they tell me they don't understand. They just told them to put it in this aisle.
It's coming from up top.
Yeah,
you got to earn it too, right? I mean. Yeah. The market isn't quite there yet. I mean, I see that. I feel in the GameStops. You go to GameStop, even GameStop, the Xbox section is smaller it's not quite that big anymore.
Yeah.
Target's still fine though. They don't care.
Yeah.
You got plenty of space.
Target's
Oh man, God, I remember those days going into a Target. I mean, it's like Target was kind of like, we kind of considered. I don't know if it's different now, guys, but Target, when I was back in the United States, it was a while now, but I mean, Target was considered the kind of the upper echelon of the Walmarts. It's like Walmart was
Target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I still get it that way. I hate Walmart. Go to Target any day over well.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, hopefully Xbox in Japan will become the Target. Yes, I hope so.
I'll get that. It's actually
be a target for consumers for sure. I hope. Yes. All right. So let's get into our topic of the show, guys. So, topic of the show, our discussion of Starfield. So I've got I'm wearing my Starfield shirt, particularly for this episode. Yeah, I got it going on here. So anyway, Bethesda's big RPG adventure. So this is an amazing game, as we know, and we'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But yeah, I put about 60 hours into the main story to finish it. And I'm, got into New Game Plus, and I listened to you guys, on Iron Lords and and on Defining Duke and stuff, COG, and yeah, I agree with you guys, man. New Game Plus, that is when the game truly begins.
Yes,
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, but I'll say this much though. I mean, I did not do much crafting at all. I didn't build a base. I didn't craft anything. I just used the Frontier. Which is the core ship you get in the beginning of the game. And I just made upgrades to the ship throughout. And I played that. I played some of the faction quests, which are amazing. I love the faction quests. The Free Star Alliance. I played that. Yeah. The Crimson. I played that. Some of that as well. I mean, and my characters on the ship, and I have to say this before I get into the characters and the ship dialogue and stuff. This game reminded me of the Outer Worlds.
Yes,
when it came to that, I mean, it's like Obsidian and the Outer Worlds. I mean, it's like, this is the Outer Worlds. I mean, it's just more complex, So
yeah, they definitely copied a little bit of the homework from Outer Worlds on companion dialogue. Which I'm Team Obsidian, so
yeah,
you go do that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting when Outer Worlds 2 comes out, how much more complex and the dialogue choices and the characters you get to converse with and all. But I used my two main characters on my ship, because I think the Frontier you can have only 3 crew members, I think it is. Yeah, so of course I had Vasco on there, but it's like I'd walk by Vasco all the time. He's like, do you have anything for me? Or it's like hi, how are you? I just walk right past him. Get back on. But I mean, I had Andreja and Sarah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those 2 characters, and one kind of pet peeve I had about this game when it came to dialogue was every time you get on the ship and you're going to go into another location, when Sarah comes up to Andreja and she's like, how is it for you on Constellation? How are things going and everything, and then Andreja, same thing all the time. Oh, I'm feeling kind of down because it's like I feel kind of like the the outsider here and all. Same conversation every single time. Single time.
That sucks. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, you would have thought that, because when Bethesda was, marketing this game and they were promoting it and all, it's like there's hundreds and thousands of dialogue choices in this game, and it's like when you get on the ship, that's all they talk about. Well,
I don't think they're talking about the side banter. They're talking about the actual conversations, right?
Yeah, but still, man, and then of course, and I kind of agree with when you, on the Defining Duke podcast, you were talking with Gene, Gene Park, shout out to Gene, the Washington Post. Yeah, he was talking about he actually had to cut off the music, like every time you go into war, do.
That's my theme.
I didn't do that. I didn't get that.
I get hype when I hear that.
I get hype. That's my new thing when people don't want to, like, they get in on their feelings. Like there's a certain subset of gamers who are very emotional that Starfield is successful. They try to downplay it as much as they got. So my new thing, when new numbers come out that justify my point that is an overwhelming success, I just I just hum at them. That's my new thing. I just hum at you because I know you cannot stop the train that is Starfield right now. It is a beast. But I love that theme. Shut up.
You know, X-Pac, you made me think of something that I didn't like with the character dialogue. In that, when you got someone with you, at some point they were like, "Oh, can I talk to you about something? When you got a second, can you talk to me?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing my thing, which I always do, is I collect a lot of stuff. I get encumbered, and then all right, I got to talk to you so I can hand you some crap so you can hold my stuff. And now I got to go through this conversation,
right?
Because automatically you're just like start telling you all their feelings. You know, pouring out their hearts to you, and I'm like, oh, can you just take my stuff already? I'm in the middle of a quest here.
It's like I'm clicking that A button, click. You know, just get through that conversation because
I don't want to disrespect it because I'm interested. I want to hear their character stories, but it's like now's not the time.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be the funniest moments, like you're in the middle of a mission, like post gunfight. You're like, "Can I talk to you right now?" Like, all right.
I know we're shooting at these guys in Shooter Ass. Where do we stand in our relationship right now? But like to bring it to one thing X-Pac was bringing up with the whole ship every time when you're about to take off. Yeah, not only do you get that, but like if you have multiple people, like because I had like the adoring fan.
Oh, me too, fan. He with me. I do all my dirt with him.
Yeah. You have him, and then if whoever you got, like if you got Sarah and others, you've got multiple conversations going on. So when you're taking off, you hear all this stuff. It's like, too much. And it's just I get it. You want to have
that. I got into like one of the major quest line, like the main quest line mission, right? The part where they all sit down at the table, right, and they start talking. I'm talking to. I had the parents one, right? We get your parents. Your parents are visiting the constellation place, and I'm talking to them. And I already started talking to the other person briefly, but then they distracted me, so I went and I talked to them. And unbeknownst to me, they're all starting this whole conversation over there, and it's going on while I'm talking to my parents. I'm like, oh no, I can't pay attention to the main story while I'm talking to these people. So I literally reloaded my save because I'm like, I'm just missing what's going on. I can't. So, weird stuff like that, you know. But you know, like it's got its quirks, but I love that about these Bethesda games. It doesn't bother me.
Absolutely. Now I'm with you. I mean, you know, like you said, X-Pac, like the companion system, I really felt they really improved. You know, it's all about, to me, it opened up, like I said, once I got to New Atlantis, and I really started to go out on my own, do my own quest, things of that nature. And then I really started getting into the ship combat and ship stealing and targeting and shutting down engines and boarding, like that type of stuff. Like I really got into that a lot. And the game is really the amount of hours I'm able to sink into it, and the emergent quest lines and things that happen organically that is just so fun to me. And sometimes you'll get payoffs from things that you did earlier, much later. And it's just really cool. I remember some mission and I jumped to another system and it was like a jarbled distress call. So I'm like, all right, let me see. I go down there and there's a group of scientists that are being massacred by spacers, and the spacers have taken over the entire planet. So it's like full out war. As soon as you land, you go through, and then you start going through a base, and you're just seeing all these scientists brutally murdered. Like it's the most vicious quest going. You get there, and then you you free somebody, one person from Freestar Collective, another person, I believe, from the Vanguard. You get them to work together, and then the quest. Then the quest ends up. This quest is wild long. Like I did all this, and then it's like, okay, but we can't stop the spacers. They're gonna keep bringing reinforcements. Can you take it to the air? Then it becomes an air battle, and and then it comes back. It was so rewarding, and I did that quest a while ago, like weeks ago. Right, I'm playing later. One of the generals that I helped from the Vanguard, I see in another part of space randomly. Hey, what's going on? You would have been a Marine in my eye. And by the way, we really appreciate. We want to give you this gift. And I'm like, yo, this is still a continuing thing from an older quest, and it's like those are the kind of emergent events. Or like you go to a planet, and a lot of times you look up in the sky, you see somebody landing. Like, all right, let me go over there and see what's going on. Like it's just the freedom of things you can do, and it really is a great job, in my opinion, by Bethesda with the RPG mechanics.
Yeah.
I see a ship landing. I'm like, ooh, can I steal that?
Gotta steal that. He's the captain. Yeah, for sure.
How often did you guys use Digipix in this game? Because it's like I was on New Atlantis and I'm like, walking around and I see this I see the ATM type of area. So it's like, oh, okay. Maybe I can get like tons and tons of credits here. So I'm going to try the Digipick, right? So it's like I get in there and I get the Digipick going, and it's like advanced. So, okay, well, yeah. So, but I got lucky and I got it, right? But then it's like the police officer's like standing right there. And it's like, did it, and then that's when the Crimson, starts.
I love how the Crimson Fleet quest begins.
Yes.
Because I just didn't think that was going to happen at all. I was like, because the first time that happened to me, I just thought like, oh, there's the crime system, right? And
yes,
someone's going to arrest me. And I actually like stopped and like, no, I'm just going to reload my save because that's not what I wanted to do. And then it didn't happen, right? Because it doesn't happen every time. It's not specific. So, but it happened to me again later. And I'm like, let me just see what happens. I'm like, I didn't really commit that much crimes right now. My fine's gonna be a little bit. Let's just see where it goes. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, I'm totally into this. I haven't really followed that quest line because I just haven't had the time. Sadly, I'm in a weird place with this game because I haven't had the time to play this game the way I want to play this game. And I've just kind of started now, like focusing on the main quest line because, like, I just got to know, like, what makes
what's going to happen
Plus so good, right? What everybody talks about, I got to know. So I've gotten far enough in that. It's like I kind of know what it's going to be. I think this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like once you get to a certain point where they start revealing information, you can figure out where the new game plus is going to be, what it's going to be, right? They've kind of tipped that hat already. And that sounds really interesting. I'm excited for that. But it was a bit, I understand like if you jumped into this game, I know some people said like it starts off slow. If you jump in this game and you just start following that main quest, and you're not really going off anywhere. It's got pacing issues for sure. That main quest line starts off a bit slow. It's like, okay, go here, get this artifact. Go here, get this artifact. Eventually, you get a cool quest when you go to Neon. That was a good one.
I like that one.
And you got the guy Walter Stroud, who's voiced by the guy from who does Quark from Deep Space Nine.
Armin Shimmerman.
So I love that about it. But so it's I want to like just kind of do whatever I want, right? Because I love these types of games. Just go out and play. I want to build ships. I love building ships. It costs a lot of money. I don't have, and I spend too much time on it. It's like I might only get to play 2 hours in a night, and I can spend an hour just trying to build a ship. So
absolutely.
I gotta like focus myself and get into what I really want to experience more of this game. I've only played, I think, about 30 some odd hours, which sadly is not what I want. I want to be playing 100 hours by now. But I don't got that time, and I can't fully judge this game at this point. Right? Like where I feel like how good this game is. Like 30 hours isn't enough to judge this game.
It's definitely not enough.
Burley, your thoughts? And Carl, I just want to let you know this is video footage from Burley's gameplay here.
Nice.
So,
nice.
I must say, like I gotta commend Bethesda. They really did with all these delays. They made this game polished for them because it's not one of the when a Bethesda game launches, we've all seen it and the jokes, and it is just where the running meme of this game was not polished. They rushed to get this out. You're going to wait a bit for everything to be patched. Like a few instances I've had where, textures flicker, and there's the odd little things of stuff behind the impossible Digipex locks that if you look a certain way and turn your character a certain way, you can grab the item and stuff. There's a few of that, but it's overall quite polished. There's some little things like here, you can see with my footage here, when you're on these like planets and stuff, and when you're in bases, the map system, I'm sorry, is very lacking. as someone like when you're in some of these bases, and I have a bad sense of direction, but I want to make sure I've gone everywhere and pilfered everything.
So I'm the same way.
It's
But you can't play a Bethesda game like that. You can't take everything.
Bro.
There all day.
I'm on Burley time. Like, yo, the companions get mad at me. They be like, sir, you do know I can carry some stuff from you because you're over encumbered. Like, I'm the guy doing resources. I'm getting all type of guns, and I'm bad. Like, I got the scavenging perk on purpose.
You got to have
how I play.
You
got the weightlifting for sure.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the ones I picked early on. But you got to have the Seven Mary 3 song, I've Become Cumbersome, playing while you play this game.
I gotta say, like, some of the bugs and glitches in this game are just hilarious. I mean, like when my crewmates are like standing in front of a door, or like they're standing in front of something, and then I like click to open the door. It's like, it's like it just goes, I love that. And then it's like when someone dies, it's like they just curl over, like their face is like, it's just, I mean, I just love that. It's, I mean, but that's stuff that Bethesda, I'm sure will patch up in the future. But I mean, so stuff like that, it all in all makes the game fun, to continue.
And I was going to say the modding community on Steam is actually are making maps for these. There have been mods, and one of the nice things is too, if you do like the game and you're trying it on Game Pass, there have been ways, they have posted official guides of how to copy or save and get it for Steam. If you do, so which is really nice, and I really do like that, because like I have been playing this on my Series S and playing this on my PC. They're having the save just transition between the both of them.
Love it.
That is so handy. That way, I'm not. It's not like with like Nintendo or anything else where I gotta go out, exit the game, click a couple buttons, and verify and check that the cloud sync is up. It's pretty much instantaneously. And the nice thing is that when I launched it on my PC for the first time after playing it on the Xbox, I said, hold on 1 second, checking saves between both.
Syncing data.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. And me as a ROG Ally user, first of all, it runs phenomenal on the ROG Ally. And to see, like I said, I boot it up, it goes through syncing data, and I'm literally right from where I was at from console. And I go between 3 devices, between XS or in my PC, my laptop, or if I'm on, playing, I'm traveling on my ROG, and it has offline potential as well. So the minute I'm playing for a couple of hours, then I get an internet connection. Just make sure I save once I have the internet connection back. Boom, go back to the Series X, right where I'm at. It's absolute, to me, that's the future game. Like I've always told people that I love that type of synergy. So I'm always going to be for that.
Yeah, I use that a lot on State of Decay 2 because I tried playing that on PC a bit. And it just syncs right over. The interesting thing, and I don't know if you can do this for Starfield maybe one day, but there are things you can do to hack your save in the State of Decay 2 on PC. Now, you can't do that on Xbox, but if you sync your data back to Xbox, that hack save, it's there. It works.
Cheater!
Little workarounds.
Yeah. Look, there was outfits in that game that you can't earn unless it's like very specific times. You had to get them only, like they were like special things that were like promotions at specific times. I was never going to get them. I just wanted the outfit, okay?
Just do what you got to do. I mean, I heard there's little puzzles in certain situations in Starfield now that people are just running around and doing things and acquiring things. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I haven't messed with Outposts yet. I really would like to. I just, just haven't had the time for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have you done Outpost work? I'm sure, Cog, you've played enough, so you've probably done Outposts.
Yeah. I've done one. And I'm generally not an Outpost guy. I usually don't craft. I don't do a lot of that stuff. This game I've actually tried it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. I just had to switch to, once you put the thing down, the largest lesson that you have to buy this thing called like crew quarters. It looks like a desk, and if you don't buy that, you can't have anyone come to the damn outpost. I was like, yo, I built it. How come I can't assign someone? It was driving me crazy. So I looked, I was like, okay, you got to buy that little thing that looks like a desk, crew quarters or whatever it's called. And I built a little inside thing. And the number one thing, if you do mess with it, is there's an option to, I think it's like right bumper to change the view, change it to an overhead view as opposed to the 3D in your face view. And then you can kind of place things and see things built much better. And then once I did that in an airlock, I was like, oh, this is really simple. And then I think I was like Lynn and Heller. And I was like, okay, this is where Yaga is going to be and kind of thing. And you can get resources and stuff like that. So I was actually like, okay, I see the potential. This is usually not my style of play, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And I was like, all right, I think there's an achievement for us. So I might do it. Like if you get built 5 outposts or something like that and you sync them or something, there's some achievement.
I would definitely love to sink a lot of time to that if I ever get the amount of time in my life right now. I'm not there. But shipbuilding though, I've spent a decent amount of time and I really, really want to do more of it. And at first it takes a while to wrap your head around because like the way, you gotta like the way you can move the pieces up and down and just kind of you gotta snap them and then they have to be, there's certain requirements that have to be done, right? Like, the docker piece was one. I'm like, God, every time it's like, why is the docking piece isn't the top of your ship or something like that? Isn't the highest point or isn't like on an outside something? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Then I found out like no item can be above the level of your docker, like if it's on the top or something like that. So like if you had like a shield generator and it was like higher up than your dock, no, can't do that. You just gotta move.
Oh, so dock is the highest point. Got it.
Okay. But it does, one thing it doesn't tell you that bothers me is if you have something that's not connected, right? It'll give you the error. It'll say like component not connected, right? It won't tell you which one.
Oh, yeah.
So if like, you're building a complicated looking ship and you cannot spot where that piece is,
you're
racking your brain like where the hell is that one piece that's not attached?
Yeah, I mean, just going through the planetary systems, I mean, and going to a particular planet and having to scan and get resources, using the cutter, from like that you have at the beginning of the game. It really reminded me of No Man's Sky in that sense.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, this is much bigger in scope than that. But I mean, I would like to see. I know in your show, Cog, you were talking with Maddie about whether there would be a Starfield 2 or not. And I just, man, I hope there is. But I mean, or even in like some kind of more downloadable content that's going to be coming for this in the future.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
just adding more things to do in particular star systems. I mean, it's like you go to a star system, there's like one planet and there's like one outpost or maybe two or, at the most. I mean, have the whole system where you have like some kind of faction missions or something like that. That would be awesome, in that sense, and yeah, I mean, that's what that's, I guess, another little small pet peeve I had with the game is you go to a system, you have to scan, get resources, so you have to get iron or something like that. And, it's like the No Man's Sky thing. You're just, and get that iron and then go and finish the missions and stuff. But,
I mean, there was a lot of people making those comparisons early on. In a negative way. They were trying to downplay the game. And as much as I played the game, like I've never really done that stuff. It's there. I don't mind anything. I don't have a reason yet. I assume its majority is crafting, outposts, all that stuff, which an aspect of the game I haven't touched yet. So it's not No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is in this game somewhere. I just haven't really engaged in that part very much.
You good? You good?
Yeah.
But one thing I want to bring up on here is food is not very good in this game.
Good point.
For healing, food is not worth, like, at first I was hoarding and grabbing every piece of food to heal, but then you realize you're holding all this weight for it, and it's like, this restores 2 health. You're like, and it's like that's like minuscule, and if you've got like the health up traits that really up your health, it's like you need so much food, and it's like, okay, I can use these 10 items to equal 1 med pack. And it's like, you know what, I've given up picking up food now. It's only in those situations of where I'm missing a little health. Okay, there's an apple here, grab it, eat it to get the small bit of it.
Did
No,
you
that's
see
a good
they
point.
said they're going to add an update, right? To add an eat button.
Yes, I did see that. I was
Yeah.
laughing. I
So
did
they
see
know.
that.
They know. They're like,
Yeah.
we screwed up on that. Because I would do it if when I hover over a piece of food in the game, I could just eat it right on the spot. Then I would do it. I would eat everything in sight. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Make this
Yeah,
Kirby
true.
suck it all in and eat
There you
it.
go.
Yeah, but I mean, like, as you get towards the end of the game, though, and I think Cog can attest to this, is that, I mean, I would go back to, New Atlantis, and I would go to Reliant Medical, and I would just store up on everything that I could get, like 10 health packs, and I don't care how much I have to spend.
Oh yeah,
because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Believe me.
Yeah,
I like the injuries in this game.
Interesting.
Right? Because they matter. Like if you don't heal them, like you get like a lung injury or something, and you're trying to run, and your oxygen level goes down real quick, and you can barely run. And then I look at my inventory. I'm like, do I have the item to cure this? Like, nope. Damn it.
Yeah.
Those
and that's why you got to go to Reliant Medical, man. You just have everything. Just boom. Yep.
Facts.
700 credits. Okay. Whatever. Boom. I'm healed. Done.
Yep. I'm like, all right, who got the one that does for the fractured limbs and the sprains? Okay, this the burns, and I'll just stock up on the specific ones because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to you course your game, especially on a planet. You're gonna be afflicted with something, so it's always a good that because they will have some negative status effects. Like some will affect you when you sneak in, and I like to play very stealthily and stuff like that. So that stuff is really important. I'm in Reliant Medical as well. I always go over there and stack up.
Well, the cool thing with some of the medical stuff you can get is ones that up you for certain things. So like up you for research for 2 minutes. So if you're a little light on some of this stuff, you can use those to help get you through. So that way you're not grinding materials as much and stuff like that, which is a really nice way. And they do have, for those that are fans of Fallout, they do have their equivalent of the bobbleheads. For the permanent stat increases, which is nice.
Something I noticed that I think it'd be better, and maybe I just haven't experienced a reason for it yet. But this is like the environments, right? You go on a planet, it's like it's really hot, it's really cold, and your suit can be protective against that, right? And there's different stats for it. But I kind of feel like it doesn't matter. I just don't care. I just ignore it. I just kind of run around and it's not a big deal. But I want it to be. I want to like sort of role play that. I want to be like, all right, I got my thermal suit. I got my hot suit. I got my cold suit. Like I want to switch depending on my environment to be prepared. But it never seems to matter.
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm sure they'll probably, honestly, within a couple months, there'll be the announcement of a hardcore mode. Because remember, that didn't come till Fallout 4. You had the whole, actually New Vegas, and then it was more normalized in 4. You have the hardcore mode where you have to eat and sleep so much, or else you get the negative effects. So I wouldn't be surprised we get something like this, where those effects, where you go on the planet and you're getting burning damage on there, it's really affecting it, or eventually your character runs around on fire or whatever.
Question for you guys. What character did you have going with you on missions the most? For me, it was split between Sarah and Andrasia. I kind of liked Andrasia a bit better because she was more badass, with the weapons and stuff. And she was, pretty much raised a warrior in a sense. So I loved having her around with me. But Sarah, for particular missions, and her take was very cool as well. But who did you have on missions with you the most? Cog, I'll start with you.
For me it was I started off with Sarah, but what ended up happening is she didn't agree with my play style. She was not happy. I started Ryushin's quest and she never forgave me when I finished that. She was just like, I could not believe. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't done it, but she was like, I cannot believe you made that choice. I don't agree with anything they're doing here. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to leave you at the lodge because me and you don't really mix. But I was funny.
I like out my vibe.
I like her input on certain things though is really good. But it's just like, again, my play style. So for me, it was Sam Cole. As soon as I got Sam Cole and then Andrasia, because Sam Cole was down for the smoke. He did like, what bothered me was like some companions, like I'm like Burley, like I scavenge a lot. I'm the guy, I'm going through the bodies. All right, what you got? You got this. All right, is this gun better? And like he's all positive and fun. He's like, yeah, make sure you gotta do what you gotta do, bro. Sam Cole is all about it. The only time Sam Cole got upset at me is I learned I have to leave him at the ship and grab a Adoring Fan whenever I want to rob ships and I want to do things. You can't bring Sam to. Then he's not about that, right? So I would say that. And then number 2 is Andreja, because like I will feel that like a lot of in the beginning, the way Starfield starts, a lot of the companions you get are very high moral ground people.
Yeah.
And Andreja is like, when you meet her, she's murdering people.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, and then I just thought her backstory was so interesting, and then and then I thought what's funny was her is like, I'm the type of person I use the power boost pack, the one that jumps you really high, like you could scale buildings and do all. So like sometimes you mistime your jump, you kind of land hard, and, you may have a fracture your knee, or sprain your ankle, and when I would do that, she would laugh at me. She was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to act like I didn't see that. Like she would do little funny things to me. So those 2 I had the most fun with. And Vasco is awesome. He's hilarious too. He's awesome.
Vasco. Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was because I love companions and like I'm trying to do my whole Star Trek thing. I got this big ship and I got like seats like 5+. So I got the trait that allows you to have more crewmates. So I've got like my ship is full. It's like Sam, Cora, Adoring Fan, Andreja, specialist, a shield like I've got a crew when I come through. So I just it gives me that Star Trek Enterprise kind of vibe. And they're all. And what I like about, I will say this last thing. What I like about the companion system is their AI. They will move out through the ship. They'll sit down. They're doing little things. They use the research. It feels like they're living in your ship a little bit. So I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Sandwiches being left on the table and everything.
Exactly.
They walk around too. Like if you're idling in an area, like outside of the ship, right? They'll actually walk around a little bit. They don't just stand there like doing nothing.
Yeah, I love it. Even again, when I scavenge, last point is like I'll take someone out. I think Sam Cole, and he'll just like, I guess he's like, man, this guy's gonna take every item. So he'll just lean up against the wall and just like watch me just, because if I'm taking a long time, it's like little subtle things I love that they do with the animations.
For me, it's like I loved Andreja and I love Sarah too, but Sarah just so much emotional baggage with her. I mean, it's just like, okay, it's like, all right, it's like we were talking about earlier with the dialogues, just wanted to get through that. So it's like, come on.
She opens up real quick.
Yes.
She tells you a bit too much. I'm like, I don't know you. Like, wait, stop it. I don't want to know that yet. It's our first mission together. Like
the first mission, that flirt option came up.
I was
Burley,
like, no,
I'll throw it to you, Burley, and then to you, Carl. But Burley, what companion have you had the most in your playthrough?
It's a tie between Adoring Fan and Sarah, because I do like that she opens up quick, and then you just for really quickly you get the flirt and a lot of options, and then she would, because I do a persuasion build, so when you're persuading, she's all for that. She's like. Wow, you de-escalated that situation quite quickly.
Yes.
And it's like, she loves that. And it's like, it's just great to see that. But I admit she does do a lot quick and just saying stuff. And she will be, I don't know if you should do that. I don't know. It's like, come on, just let me do my thing here.
Indeed.
Carl, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't played it as much as I want to. And I kind of dabbled a bit around and didn't really, get to have that experience with them sometimes. Because if you're not doing anything important, they're not really saying that much, right?
Yeah.
Except for them trying to get you to talk about their feelings. But so yeah, like I like how they kind of forced you to stick with someone for a little part of the main missions. Right, so you get to know them a little bit. So. I stuck with Sarah. I thought for me, I felt a little too long. Then I got to Andreja. I'm like, all right, yes, she's the one, I think. But
definitely a fan
favorite. But then they got a mission with Barrett, and I was like, okay.
Oh, Barrett's awesome.
Yeah.
I
really like. At first, I was like, I don't know. He came off weird when he first was like, here's your spaceship, just take it. I'm like,
when you first meet him. Good point.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I'm like, I don't get this guy. But then later, I'm like, all right, he's cool. I probably want to spend some more time with him. But again, it hasn't been enough with anyone else. Vasco, I barely. He was, because then again they make you go with Sarah very early, so like Vasco goes off to the side, and like I just didn't decide to take him back. But I do like that he says your name.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah, and I think with a lot of these characters, there's going to be some pretty big, DLC to come later on, like Andrasia or with Sarah or whoever you end up with. So, yeah, it should be cool. Yeah,
I mean, this game could get wild with that. I mean, and people, people keep saying DLC, but I want to call it expansions. Like, I feel like what they're going to give is going to be large. Like, kind of like your Witcher 3 content, right? Like, I don't think people really call that DLC as much as like an expansion, right?
Yeah, no, that's the verbiage they're using.
Your Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, right? That's an expansion. It's not really DLC in my book. I know there's like, maybe it's semantics, but I see a difference. I see it. It's like they can do some real. I mean, they can do entire planets, as expansion, right? If you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Personally, I want to see them add mechs. I would love that because there was those animated shorts that they did. I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but Kage, if you watch those, in one of those animated shorts, they're talking about the past, and there's the two characters who are piloting mechs, and I was like, oh, come on. Put that in the game. You got to get that in the game.
It's part of the lore too, right? When you go, I think if you do the Vanguard mission, and I thought the museum mission thing was excellent. They had like a lore, like whole lore of the game in a museum done excellently. And they talk about that time when mechs are used and animals are used and things are bit. I would highly recommend doing the Vanguard quest because it really fills out the story. And then also, if you're a person who I was struggling because I really like the ship combat, and I was struggling to get into fights, and I was just like, it just wasn't happening. I wasn't able to level up skills. So when you do the Vanguard, there's like a training mission you have to apply, and it counts towards those skills. So I would highly recommend. And then the other thing I would say is once you pass the Vanguard, the first mission of the Vanguard mission is awesome. It is without spoiling. This turns into a horror game. And I was just like, expat know what I'm talking. Expat sound like you did it. Like, bro, I'm telling y'all right now, because I wasn't gonna do the Vanguard. I'm like, Vanguard just sounded boring. I was like, I ain't doing that. I'll do something.
It's intense. Yes.
Oh, is it that first? So again, get apply, get your pilot license, whatever it is. Do the museum, excellent lore, and then do the first mission when you get to that point and report back to me because I think you are really. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, what is this game doing? I didn't think this was going to happen in Starfield. And it's really good.
I ran into a random, I think it was like a derelict ship or something, where there was some sort of alien type thing going on. Like there was these eggs or things that hatching out of it. There was only one that you ran into on that particular ship because like it was just like a random thing. I was like, oh, there'll be more of this for sure. So maybe that's what it is, but don't tell me.
I ain't gonna tell you. But it's amazing.
And just one last thing, I mean, about the story in general. I mean, as you progress and as you get closer to the end of this game, you're gonna sit back and think about the ramifications of what's going on in this game and what it has cost to some particular things within our universe and that are close to us. And that's the interesting part. And that's what I loved about this game. I mean, when I got closer to the end, it's like, wow, that happened, yes. And you're going to love it. It's really cool. I mean, it's really interesting. So
agreed.
Yeah. I got the lore behind why Earth is uninhabitable. I thought that was really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think I want to say I don't know if any of you felt this as when I was going farther into the main story quest. I got to a point where I was like, the way I was kind of role playing my character, I'm like, I don't think he'd be into this. I think he'd be involved. Like this is like beyond the way I thought my character would be living in this universe. I was like, this is up there. I think it'd be like, can I just opt out? I mean, obviously that's the main story. And you can't, right?
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt like, man, maybe this is too much for like my character, who I thought was just going to be like, I'm like the space hauler guy, you know, like I just want to, get my money, bring goods around, sell stuff, build ships, whatnot. I want to get into this whole universe lore.
Yeah, no, trust me, I felt the same. It started slow for me, and I didn't do any constellation quests as soon as I got to know. I started doing other things, and then I was like, all right. People were telling me how good the story was, and I'm like, all right, because I was playing like a traditional Bethesda game. Ooh, squirrel, new quest. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna go over here. Like I'm just doing my own thing. But because again, historically, and actually, I've said this on Duke and LP before. Yeah, we got to be honest. Even as great as Skyrim is, great as Oblivion is, can we really remember what the main quest line and how that played out and what was the finale? They're not known for their main stories being these amazing narratives. Oh, no. Starfield changes that. Starfield changes that. Now, I won't advise people you have to rush and just do only. Some people say, hey, you got to do the story, then do naked. I don't advise you to rush. Play at your own pace. Yeah. But I will say this is by far the best main story Bethesda has ever done. Yes. And like Expat said, without spoiling, the best implementation of New Game Plus I have ever seen in a game. Yes. It's very unique what they're doing. It's very ambitious what they're doing. Yep. And it's pretty cool. But play at your own pace. But this main story heats up because I'm with you, Carl. At the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I want to join y'all. I like, why should I join your constellation? Like you guys don't align. I want to do other stuff. I want to steal ships. I want to do I was just in another bag. But once I said, all right, let me do it. And I was like, there was one particular part. And I'm not going to spoil, but this is where the game turned for me. Yeah, it was one constellation mission, and I did it, and something happened at New Atlantis. Let's just say that, and it was very intense. Yeah, and I go, yep. I'm in. I am in, and I felt threatened, and I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. Like when that mission happened. Yeah. I said, "Oh, this is the game. I'm in. Like you got my full undivided. I'm going to stop doing all this stuff. Like
no side quests, no factions. Just you're.
This is where it's at now. I'm in. You got me. Right. Yes, because it happened, and I was just like, wow, I never really seen that from a Bethesda game in that kind of way, and it was really well done.
Yeah, and the ramifications of what what you do, and the emotional impact that it has. Yeah, it's awesome. Good stuff.
I can't wait to see that because, like you said, the story in these Bethesda games for most of them, because most of them don't actually have a New Game Plus. It's just your ending. Like,
they don't.
Okay, you either save the world or hey, you help this one faction and fall out in pieces in this one small corner. The other rest of the world is gone to shit. So you helped one people, but you're still a piece of shit.
You're still a piece of shit. Forget saving the world. I'm gonna go be in Dark Brotherhood.
So it is interesting me to see, and I'm really hoping it does live up to that thing of do my choices matter? Because like in some games it does really matter. It does take effect, and then there are some that it does not. So I'm really curious to see how well this New Game Plus will live up, because like one of the best, I know Carl's going to agree with me here, is triangle strategy. To go back and you see all your options after you played them out.
I love that. I played 2 runs of that game.
Same.
It's hard to do more than that. But I made sure to do the golden path. I don't know if you did that. There's like the real ending, right? And it's a bit of a trick to get. You got to look into how to do it.
Well, you got to get that flow chart of the options at like certain chapters. You have to have done this and that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Last question, guys. What percentage would you give Starfield's chances of winning Game of the Year?
Oh boy.
Okay. I got the number, but
what you got?
I will go first. I know people are not going to like this, but it's got like a 10%.
10%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like with the competition we've had, and remember, Tears of the Kingdom was huge when it came out, and it's the previous game winning Game of the Year. Breath of the Wild does give it that little notch to really help, and then.
Yeah, I'm with Burley when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom, because I mean that's it's just beloved by so many gamers.
It is.
That series, and just with the previous winning game of the year.
Yeah.
I think it's,
and not to mention it fixing a lot of problems with Breath of Wild and adding a lot of new stuff.
And how all these how all these media outlets are there. It's going to be like they're like 10s out of 10s.
Pro Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I just like at the beginning of the year, I was saying it's game of the year. I mean, it's just like you could just stamp it on there right now, game of the year. I mean, it's kind of like how Elden Ring, you have that particular type of gamer and those type of people in the media that are just into that particular genre of game, and it's like, this is the year, I guess, for Zelda. I don't know, but I would give Starfield a strong chance. I mean, probably if it's not Tears of the Kingdom, it's probably going to be Starfield or Spider-Man 2. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
What about Baldur's Gate 3?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, no one ain't even talking about Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 will be nominated for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's going to win Best RPG of the year, probably.
I think it will, even though Starfield isn't RPG.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Indie game of the year. Okay,
that indie. I've started up Baldur's Gate 3, but Sea of Stars, I'm biased because I kickstarted that.
Yeah, the Burley's like a Kickstarter, so yeah.
Sea of Stars is amazing.
Yeah.
Carl, your thoughts? Oh man, I mean, I had hopes that it would definitely be, the front runner once it released, right? But yeah, I see the criticisms as I've played it, right? They're valid. Now, I don't want to say 7 out of 10 is a fair score for this game. I think you're kidding yourself if you give this game lower than an 8. I mean, I don't see it. I think you're doing a disservice to your audience if you are saying that about this game. You have a personal opinion about it, but like if you're trying to, describe what this experience is, you should be saying higher. But that's so. But they see those. You gotta look at who's voting, right? The voting body isn't just the person who reviewed the game.
Right.
So there are the people who will be. So if you're worried about, I'll call out, anybody, but I don't want to say their names. Okay, they don't need to be talked about. But if you're worried about them saying that they're not going to vote for it because their review score was lower, maybe not, because maybe someone else there who gets a vote is going to vote for it, right? Because people are putting hundreds of hours into this game. I mean, I think that's game of the year for a lot of people. The game that spoke to you the most. So, like, I don't know, percentage wise, I don't know. I might want to give it like 50% shot at this point. Maybe, maybe a little less, maybe 45. I don't know. It's tough. Baldur's Gate 3 is hard too, because like I want to see that, but I think there's a lot less people who are going to play it, right? It's still pretty niche of a game, right? The reviews are incredibly good for it, but I think those reviews are like the people who are like, all right, we're giving that review to the guy who's like the specialist on that. Go play this CRPG over here, and like, oh damn, it's incredible. Oh, okay, damn, okay. Maybe we should have paid a little more attention before that came out, But so I think it's got a good shot, But yeah, it could be Zelda, it could be Spider-Man, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield. Those are your contenders.
No, this is a year, man. This is a year, but so competitive. I think at the start of the year, I thought it was a no-brainer. Tears of the Kingdom just had so much of the zeitgeist, and I'm like, all right, Nintendo's back. They got it. Now, in my heart, I knew Starfield was a game for me. And of course, I have a natural bias, sci-fi, Bethesda game. Like Carl said, I do understand it's not perfect. It does have some issues. I'm not going to say it's not. My main issue with it's probably like the onboarding, but Bethesda just assumes you know everything and how to do everything without kind of explaining to you. So that's my main issue with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's something about that loop when it gets going. So it's my personal game of the year. Right? That's a game that I connect with the most. But I also don't want to disrespect Baldur's Gate. And I'm turn-based. And then, the Dungeons and Dragons aspect. And I'll be honest, there's a part of me that thinks they may have stole the thunder a little bit from Tears of the Kingdom. The outcry of people who were really championing this game. And then it's almost like the little guy, rags to riches, who just put this time in, and it's extremely polished product for the most part. I know I heard people say as you get later, it gets a little more buggier, but I think they might be the dark horse that Tears of the Kingdom needs to worry about. I don't think the Tears of the Kingdom slam dunk is automatic like how I thought it at the beginning of the year. Obviously, we still got Spider-Man. Sea of Stars should be a nominee. That's really amazing. That's Chrono
That's
Trigger's
indie game of the year, I think.
Yeah. They may have to throw that in the indie joint. Now the question is going to be if I'm going to say my percentage probably it's still going to be a long shot for Starfield a little bit because it's just so competitive. So I'm probably in that 30 to 40%. But to Carl's point, because this game, here's the thing with Starfield has going for it. The zeitgeist of this game has not stopped.
Right.
Like how successful this game has not stopped. So that's in its favor coming in. And then obviously, recency bias a little bit because we played it before, but it's gonna be a tough one, man. It's gonna be, I don't know where this is gonna go. I'm gonna be tuned in. And I also want to know if whoever doesn't win game of the year, who wins RPG of the year, right? That's another super competitive, this
year's been stacked for RPGs. It's gonna be tough. I think for RPGs so far, it's either Baldur's Gate is probably the front runner, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sea of Stars wins it, just because of what they did with that game.
No, absolutely.
Anything can happen, man. I mean, just think like when It Takes Two won it. I mean,
remember that? Exactly. Indie dog, bro. It can happen. It's gonna be a fun one to watch. For sure.
That year wasn't anywhere near as competitive as this.
True.
True.
All right. So let us know in the comments what you think. What is your game of the year pick? What did you think? If you've played through Starfield, what did you think of it? What would you like to see things change with the updates that are going to be coming? What kind of DLC would you like to see for Starfield? And let us know what you thought of Starfield as a whole, playing the game. We really like to hear from you. So now it's time to talk about our programming notes. So of course, here on the Arena Productions, we are not only just gaming news. We are also entertainment and pop culture related when it comes to Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, fantasy shows. And my last video that I put up was Star Trek Lower Decks. So season 4, episode 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green. My recap and review of that episode. It was a really fun episode to watch. So check out my review of that episode. Yeah, some good stuff.
4 episodes already.
I know, 4 episodes, man. Yeah.
My damn Paramount Plus is gone.
Actually, yeah. It's, Paramount Plus is expanding, actually. So, other countries.
I have to subscribe after the season's over and just binge it all, I guess. That's probably the strategy.
There you go. Yeah. And, of course, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/The Arena Productions, where you can see all of our content here, this podcast, the post shows that we do usually after every episode, and, of course, all of our entertainment and pop culture related content. You can watch them ad-free, and our post shows are exclusive to our patrons. So over at patreon.com/The Arena Productions, you can go and check that out. So some good stuff, man. So Cog, it's been really great having you on the show, man. So really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate it, and hope you can come on again, time permitting. I know your
this time zone's a little rough for me.
Yeah. You're going like 100 miles per hour. I understand the feeling, man. So
I appreciate it. Absolutely, we figure something out. We'll hope to get you guys on in the realm at some point as well. No, look, I had a fantastic time. You guys had a great show. Shout out to to Carl, and shout out to Elsie Burley. This was really fun. Love the format of show production. Jesus, I gotta take some notes.
Thank you.
Y'all outside with this production. It is really cool. But and again, I appreciate the patience, on the invite. I know we've been trying to work to make this thing happen. This was a lot of fun, man. I love intelligent discussions, balanced discussion. People who have a passion for gaming. I'm always going to try to support that. And most people who don't know me as at Lord Cognito on Twitter. Every Sunday is the Lord's Day, Iron Lords podcast. We will have Peter Moore returning. He is returning to talk Yeah, we're going to finish up more of his career. We got a little bit more Dreamcast talk, a little bit more 360 talk, but we didn't get into the EA chamber. We didn't get into this man owned a football club at one point, and he also worked at Unity. And I'm very curious to get his input, especially what's been going on with Unity lately.
Yes.
That's the man to talk to when it comes to Unity. So I'm dying to hear his perspective there. And we did an emergency podcast about all the leaks because we didn't want that take away from Peter. So because we had a separate thing there. So if you go check that out, that'd be greatly appreciated. Sundays 1 p.m. Eastern. And then obviously Defining Duke, obviously with Mr. Matty Plays, that should be going up. That's out on Patreon. It should be going up on Sunday to free feeds. And then what'sgaming.net. If you guys can support it, if you see the articles, we're out there at Tokyo Game Show. We have some boots on the ground, exactly, and it really means a lot. Oh, thank you. I appreciate I see the link. Thank you. Again, independent website, and just to see the talent that we have and the coverage that we have, we're really, really blessed. So go check that out. We got impressions of Final Fantasy Rebirth, the Persona game, everything that's on the floor. Shout out to Gina and the team, and really, it really means a lot when you guys support. Check out the articles. But thank you for the invite, man. The arena, I was in the realm of the arena and had some fun.
There you go, man. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. It's great having you, man. And of course, Burley and Carl is my co-hosts. Of course, thank you so much for being with me for this episode and all the other episodes. Really appreciate you being here with me and stuff. So good stuff, man. All right. So to end our show, we always do an indie recording artist spotlight. So we spotlight a particular indie recording artist, and we do a music outro to end the show. So this week's indie recording artist is the spotlight is on CK Martin, thriving amongst the vibrant and diverse music scene in Chicago, Los Angeles, Nashville, and Orlando. Cody has composed music for thousands of independent projects, dozens of short films, and multiple major television works as well, continuing to reach and impact millions of people. The majority of Martin's music revolves around orchestral and cinematic scoring, but he also occasionally composes acoustic, indie, rock, alternative pop, and inspirational movements. From his album titled Scourge. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 146. I've been your host, X-Bat, along with my co-host, Burley of Burleman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl, and with our very special guest, Lord Cognito. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the outro. Peace out.